The movie begins by showing two hitmen, Danny and his mentor Hunter. These guys have been partners for a long time, ever since Danny left the Special Forces. Hunter is like a teacher and a good buddy to Danny. This time, they're in Mexico to do a hit, and they've got Davis and Mayer helping them out. When their target shows up, Mayer quickly sets off a bomb in the guy's car. Danny and the crew surround the target, and he takes out the bad guys one by one super fast. But here's the thing. When Danny looks inside the car after the job, he sees a little boy there. He feels terrible because he killed someone in front of the child. That makes him lose focus, and the police end up shooting him. Luckily, Hunter acts fast and saves Danny. Hunter takes Danny and Davis, who's got the getaway car ready, and they make a quick escape. On the way, Danny admits he's done with killing and wants to retire from this dirty business. A year later, Danny is happily retired, living in the peaceful Australian forest. One day, out of the blue, Danny receives a photo from his agent showing Hunter being held captive by the Arab oil mafia. Danny is furious when he sees this. He wastes no time and hops on a flight to Oman to meet his agent John. John tells Danny to come with him, but he doesn't explain everything right away. When they're heading to their destination, John spills the beans. He tells Danny that Hunter messed up a job for a tribal leader who's part of the wealthy oil mafia. Now, if Danny wants to save Hunter, he'll have to finish that failed mission. On top of that, he'll get a cool payment of $6 million. However, if Danny fails the mission again, Hunter will be killed. Danny finally reaches the mafia headquarters, where he's greeted by Sheikh al-Samidi's youngest son, Bahad. Samidi hires both Hunter and Danny to avenge the deaths of his three sons, who were killed by the British Special Forces SAS. Samidi hands Danny a file with the target's identity and mentions that he has only 6 months to live. This means Danny must finish the mission before Samidi's time is up. If he fails, Hunter will be killed on the day of Samidi's death. Danny agrees to take on the job but insists on meeting Hunter first. Soon enough, Danny is reunited with Hunter, who appears disheveled and worn out. Hunter isn't too thrilled with Danny's decision because he doesn't want Danny to go back to being a hitman just to save him. But Danny insists that he owes Hunter a lot and can't let him be killed for nothing. A little while later, Danny asks a guard to bring them some drinks, but instead, he knocks the guard out cold. Surprisingly, Danny plans to escape with Hunter, but it leads to the men working for Samidi surrounding them, and a battle becomes inevitable. Sadly, they had to give up since they were vastly outnumbered. Hunter even urged Danny to leave him behind. In a surprising twist, Danny learns that John had used Hunter as bait, and this infuriates him. But now, Danny feels trapped and compelled to finish the mission because he's desperate to free Hunter before retiring peacefully in Australia. Danny has made a promise to himself to lead a normal life and start a family with his partner, Anna. That's why he promptly heads to France to meet up with Davis and Mayer. When they arrived in France, Danny wasted no time and joined Davis for a boxing session. Afterward, Danny explained his mission and told them he didn't want any reward from it. He's doing this solely to free Hunter. So Davis and Mayer get to enjoy all the mission rewards. With the agreement settled, Danny showed them a photo of their target, Harris. Harris, the target, used to be an SAS soldier and now lives in Oman. Without any delay, Danny and the crew head to Oman. Danny sneaks into Harris' house while Harris is busy in his room. Danny cleverly turns bits of the toilet floor into a weapon to kill Harris in a way that looks like an accident, not murder. Meanwhile, Davis hangs out in a bar known for retired SAS members from the UK, hoping to gather more information about the SAS veterans who served in Oman. Unfortunately, a visitor at the bar becomes suspicious of Davis and reports him to a former SAS member called Spike. From then on, the ex-SAS members start keeping an eye on Davis and trying to dig up information about him. Spike, being loyal to the organization, gathers other retired SAS members to discuss the situation. They belong to a group involved in illegal activities. Unfortunately, Spike's attempts to rally support are unsuccessful, as none of the members are willing to get involved. So, in the end, Spike decides to take matters into his own hands and sets off for Oman with his man Martin. After arriving in Oman, Martin starts keeping a close eye on Davis' movements. He also keeps tabs on Danny and Mayer as they create a murder weapon using ceramic material from the toilet floor at Harris' house. But soon, Danny notices that he's being watched when he spots a reflection of light from Martin's camera. Danny and the crew immediately give chase, but Martin escapes by going into an underground tunnel. He cleverly blocks their pursuit by disturbing a beehive, which hinders them from following him further. Now, Danny and the others have to be extra cautious since Martin's presence has made the situation more dangerous. The next day, Davis is given the task of sabotaging Harris' girlfriend's car so she wouldn't witness Harris' death. Meanwhile, Danny and Mayer are already at Harris' house, wasting no time. Mayer swiftly ties Harris' hands, and Danny prepares the murder tools in the bathroom. Before carrying out the plan, Danny records Harris' confession, where he admits to killing Samity's son, Hussein. Harris claims someone else was involved, and it's all written in a book, but Danny doesn't pay much attention to his words. Following the confession, Danny and Mayer proceed to execute Harris as planned. However, just as Danny is about to finish him off, they hear a knock on the door. It's Harris' girlfriend asking for money to pay a taxi fare. After she leaves, Danny goes back to the bathroom and finds Harris lying dead on the floor. Mayer, it turns out, had grown impatient and already killed Harris while Danny was dealing with the unexpected interruption. Later on, Danny takes a flight to England to continue his mission. During the flight, he can't help but think about Anna, who became his motivation for leaving the hitman life behind. He dreams of living a peaceful and happy life with her. On the other side, Davis seeks out an informant to gather information about the SAS so he can find his next target for assassination. Unexpectedly, the informant becomes suspicious of Davis and reports directly to Spike. But Davis doesn't take this lying down. In a brutal act of self-defense, he uses a brush as a weapon and kills the informant. Afterward, Davis manages to recover crucial documents from the informant's place. The news of the informant's death reaches Spike's ears, and he realizes the severity of the situation. Spike gathers the former SAS members and warns them that Danny and his team are incredibly dangerous assassins, as they were able to infiltrate the SAS network. He emphasizes the urgency of the matter and decides to take immediate action before Danny eliminates more SAS members. At the same time, Danny reunites with Davis and Mayer. He informs them about their next target, a man named Crack. This guy was one of the SAS members involved in Samity's son's death. Danny comes up with a new plan to make sure the SAS won't suspect anything. He disguises himself as a doctor to steal drugs that he'll use to create poison for Crack's assassination. Unfortunately, Spike is waiting outside the hospital and catches Danny red-handed. They get into a heated chase, but Danny manages to lead Spike into an empty building. Danny launches a series of attacks, but to his surprise, Spike possesses exceptional martial skills, making him incredibly strong and hard to defeat. After an intense and prolonged fight, Danny finally manages to defeat Spike using a clever and unexpected move, a punch to Spike's sensitive area. However, Danny doesn't have the luxury of time to finish Spike off. He quickly rushes to meet up with Davis and Mayer at their hiding place. With their next target, Crack, in mind, Danny and the team devise a daring plan, but it comes with great risks. They need to break into the heavily guarded SAS headquarters to carry out the assassination plot. Without wasting any time, they head straight to the location. Danny decides to disguise himself as a training soldier since Crack will be participating in that activity. Davis is in charge of creating distractions, while Mayer keeps a watchful eye on Danny from a distance. When Danny was in the canteen, he discreetly poisons Crack's tea. Danny then joins the SAS training session that takes place in the snowy terrain. Shortly after, Crack starts feeling unwell and his heart weakens gradually. Seizing the opportunity, Danny approaches Crack and records his confession about being involved in the murder of Samity's son. The whole thing is witnessed by Samity through the recording. Later on, news of Crack's death finally reaches Spike. He's at a bar watching the news on television when some young men start playing loud music and disrespecting Crack's death. This infuriates Spike, and he scolds the young men for their behavior. In the meantime, John returns to Danny and the teen with information about their next target, Simon. Davis is initially hesitant about continuing the mission, but he decides to do it for Hunter's sake. The next day, Danny contacts Anna before proceeding with the mission. He promises her that he will return to Australia soon. However, Anna seems confused about Danny's real line of work. Danny assures her that he will reveal his true occupation once all the business is taken care of. After contacting Anna, Danny gets into Davis' car to monitor Simon's movements. Simon is a retired SAS major who still possesses formidable fighting skills. He proves this by defeating two men who deliberately damaged his car. Suddenly, Spike appears to intervene in Simon's fights, leaving Danny surprised and curious about Spike's intentions. Danny decides to follow Spike, and it leads him to an empty building. There, Spike realizes he's being followed. While inside the building, Danny offers money to two boys present there in exchange for information about Spike's identity. With this knowledge, Danny strategizes how to execute the plan to assassinate Simon. It's important for Danny to be cautious since Simon will be under Spike's supervision, making it challenging for Danny to record Simon's confession. To carry out their plan, Danny comes up with the idea of creating a fake recording. In this recording, Davis will pretend to be Simon, allowing them to execute the plan without raising suspicion. Meanwhile, John discovers Spike's identity and seeks assistance from his friend, Mitwick, who has connections with a group of former SAS members. John asks Mitwick to ensure that Spike doesn't interfere with Danny and his team's work. Mitwick wastes no time and meets with a member of the group, Gullington, to persuade them not to interfere with Danny's mission. Gullington agrees and convinces the other members to abandon Spike's plan. This infuriates Spike, and he decides to go solo from now on. On the other side, Danny and the team are currently infiltrating a truck garage as they continue their mission. Mayer takes the initiative to install a remote control on a truck that will travel along the same road as Simon usually does. The plan is to control the truck remotely to hit Simon, making it look like a tragic traffic accident. To assist them, they have a new partner named Jack on board now. With their team set and plan in place, they'd proceed with their mission to execute Simon while making it appear like a mere accident. The next day, they put their plan into action. Mayer drives the truck while the others watch from a distance. When Simon approaches, Mayer expertly guides the truck to hit Simon's car, successfully completing their mission. However, Mayer and Jack get caught by one of Spike's men, leading to a chase. When Mayer is cornered, Jack makes a quick decision to shoot Spike's man from behind, but tragically, the bullet also hits Mayer, causing them both to lose their lives. Devastated by Mayer's death, Danny is initially angry at Jack, but they don't have time to dwell on it. Danny finds a communications radio in Spike's car and instructs Jack to contact John and ask for help in cleaning up the aftermath of their mission. Afterward, Danny and Davis bid each other farewell, knowing their mission is now complete. As emotions run high for Spike upon discovering his man's murder, he becomes even more determined to find Danny and the others. Meanwhile, Davis is in a hotel and engages in risky behavior, hiring a prostitute who turns out to be a spy working for Spike. The spy quickly informs Spike of Davis' whereabouts. Without hesitation, Spike sends his men to capture Davis. They successfully apprehend him, and one of Spike's men contacts Spike through radio communication, a conversation overheard by Danny. While Davis attempts to escape and hijack a car, he tragically gets caught by Spike, resulting in his immediate death. Spike orders his men to check the phone number on Davis' jacket. He then enters a building where he's hiding. Surprisingly, Danny is already there, pointing a gun at Spike. Danny doesn't want to kill Spike. He's tired of all the violence. Instead, he wants to give Spike a warning, urging him to stop his actions. Danny makes it clear that if Spike doesn't listen and continues his path, he will be forced to take drastic measures and kill Spike. After confronting and warning Spike, Danny meets with Samedi and hands over the recording of Simon's confession. Danny then takes Hunter with him, imploring him to retire and live a peaceful life as an ordinary old man. At the same time, Spike gathers information about John and discovers that he is actually an agent working with Danny and the other assassins. The situation becomes more complicated as Spike learns the truth about their identities and affiliations. Sometime later, Danny returns to Australia and rushes to see Anna, and they both express how much they missed each other. However, later that night, Danny receives a call from John, who is using Anna's phone. John delivers the shocking news that they killed the wrong target, and Harris wasn't the one responsible for Samity's son's death. Now, Anna's life is in danger unless Danny resolves the problem immediately. Panicked, Danny decides to take Anna to Paris to keep her safe. Once they arrive in Paris, Danny leaves Anna at Hunter's house, while he travels to London to handle the situation. Although Hunter offers to help Danny, Danny insists that Hunter should stay with Anna to protect her. The situation is dire, and Danny is determined to fix things before any harm comes to Anna. Danny wastes no time and heads straight to Bahad's inn. He confronts Bahad's men and demands an explanation from Bahad about the real target, feeling deceived by him. Afterward, Danny meets with John to inquire about the true target, Jeremy. However, little does John know that his office has been bugged by Spike. The situation becomes increasingly dangerous as Danny races against time to uncover the truth and protect Anna from the looming threat. With stakes so high, Danny must navigate carefully through this perilous situation. In a daring move, Danny goes to Jeremy's location wearing a helmet and dressed in all black clothing. However, unbeknownst to him, Spike is monitoring his actions. As Danny enters the place, an explosion occurs, sending him flying a considerable distance. Seizing the opportunity, Spike captures the person wearing the helmet, but to his surprise, it's not Danny, it's Jack. Danny successfully outwitted Spike with a clever trick, using Jack as a decoy to confuse his pursuer. In Jeremy's room, Danny manages to knock him unconscious, but hesitates when he remembers the child from the beginning of the film. Nevertheless, Danny decides to go through with the mission and kills Jeremy. He takes a photograph of Jeremy's body as evidence and makes his escape through the building's roof. However, Spike is relentless and quickly mobilizes his men to capture Danny. Eventually, Danny is trapped and forced to surrender. He is arrested and subjected to torture by Spike and his men. On the other hand, to Spike's surprise, Jeremy is revealed to be alive, having been shot with a rubber bullet. Spike is puzzled as to why Danny didn't kill Jeremy, and he intensifies his interrogation of Danny to uncover the masterminds behind the assassinations of former SAS members. During the intense interrogation, Danny explains everything, including Samity's name and the motive behind his revenge. Upon hearing Danny's explanation, Spike is taken aback and leaves without releasing Danny from his restraints. However, a surprising turn of events occurs as Mitwick suddenly appears and points a gun at Spike, forcing him to handcuff himself. Mitwick reveals that he is a British government official sent to disband the group of former SAS troops and stop Spike. Furthermore, he discloses that the mastermind behind all these troubles is none other than Bahad, Samity's youngest son. This conspiracy was orchestrated due to Bahad's involvement in a petroleum business agreement with the British, resulting in the sacrifice of his 3 elder brothers on the battlefield. Fueled by frustration and betrayal, Danny loses control and unleashes his anger on Mitwick and Spike, beating them brutally despite being tied up. Danny's strength and determination allow him to overpower both of them. Seizing an opportunity, Danny escapes through a window and makes a daring getaway. On the flip side, Spike, feeling the pressure of the situation, decides to eliminate Mitwick, but he is unable to track down Danny, who has already escaped by hijacking a civilian's car. The situation takes a dangerous turn as Danny continues to evade his pursuers, leaving them scrambling to catch up with him. In a shocking twist, John resorts to hiring a hitman to eliminate Hunter, using Anna as potential bait to control Danny. However, his plan backfires when Hunter unexpectedly takes down the hired killer with his bare hands and shoots John in the leg just as he's about to kidnap Anna. Despite the betrayal and deceit, Hunter decides not to kill John, opting instead to warn him that any further encounters will be fatal. The following day, Hunter meets with Danny in Oman, where Danny plans to provide photographic evidence to Samedi confirming Jeremy's death. Hunter keeps a close eye on Danny from a distance, ensuring his safety in case any trouble arises. In a shocking turn of events, Spike arrives at Samedi and Bahed's location. Samedi is lying in bed, visibly weakened due to his deteriorating health. Spike presents the fabricated photo of Jeremy, claiming it to be the proof Danny should have provided. However, Spike then unexpectedly stabs Samedi to death, leaving Bahed surprised but seemingly indifferent as he anticipates inheriting a substantial fortune. With Bahed giving the $6 million meant for Danny and Hunter to Spike instead, Hunter witnesses the injustice from a distance. He urges Danny to go after Spike, who now has the money. However, things take an unexpected turn as Samedi's army also joins the chase, hindering Danny and Hunter's pursuit. Undeterred, Hunter takes action and shoots at their car to clear the way, allowing them to continue chasing Spike. In the final confrontation, Spike is cornered and remains silent. Danny questions him about what happened inside Samedi's house, and Spike admits to his actions as they occurred. Hunter takes some money from the bag and hands the rest to Spike for his fare back to England. With the truth revealed and nothing left to do with Samedi's family, Danny and Hunter decide to leave the situation behind. Danny realizes that there's no need to kill Spike, as he will have to face the consequences of his actions at the hands of Samedi's loyal army. The film concludes with Danny returning to Paris and reuniting with Anna as they prepare to go back to Australia. The moral of the story is that when chasing villains, make sure you don't forget the money bag, or else you might fund your own enemy's escape.